asterisk in front of it. And the reason why is because this item I'm not actually going to use directly on a check or a bill. So I put an asterisk so I don't accidentally use it. I put the rate of 1, and this is actually really important that you put the rate as 1. And I know you're feverishly trying to write this down, but again, you can watch the recording later, and it's also in the training product. So just watch how this works on the screen. So then I'm going to point it not to an income account, but to an expense account, electricity. That's my first item. I'm going to create one more item for Texas Power. This item is going to be a group type item. So I'm going to pick group, and I'm going to name it Texas Power without the asterisk. This is the one I'm going to use on checks and bills. Now, item that is a group type item is an item that's comprised of other items in your item list. So I'm going to pick the asterisk Georgia Power, and I'm going to enter it twice. And the reason why I'm going to enter it twice is because the power bill needs to be broken up in 2 ways, 90% and 10%. Over in the quantity, I'm going to put 0.9 to represent 90% and 0.1 to represent 10%. And I'm going to click OK. You ready? Done. Guess what? I never have to worry about allocating the Texas Power bill. Again, it's going to be done automatically. Let me show you. I'm going to delete these 2 lines. I'm going to go over to the Items tab. I'm going to type Texas Power. All the items, the 2 items that make it up will appear. I'm going to put the class right here. 90% goes to the Guidance Center, and the rest of it goes to the admin. Okay? So then, now this is where things get a little weird to understand. And you almost don't even have to understand it, but just watch carefully. Look at the screen. What I have here, it doesn't say 1 here, but I really do have 1. It thinks I'm buying, oh, let me make this bigger so you can, actually I'll do this so you can see it all. There. So what it thinks I've done is it thinks I'm buying this thing called Texas Power. It thinks I'm buying one of them, and it thinks that thing is made up of 2 little mini things. Each that cost $1, they think I'm getting 0.9 of one of them and 0.1 of the other. So 90, it multiplies the quantity times the rate, and then the amount's 90 cents, 10 cents, $1. So it thinks basically because I'm buying 1, it costs $1, and this is how it's to be broken up, 90 and 10. If I put a 2 here, now it breaks it up this way. You're starting to get excited? Now it's $1.80, 20 cents plus 2. If I put a 10 here, now it's 10. If I put 100 here, now it breaks it up. Whoops, put 10 again. 90 and $10, $100. So what do you think I should put in this field, in this quantity field for the group item? Becky, go ahead and see if they got the right answer. What number should I put there?
350.
The dollar amount of the bill. Very good. I press the tab button and bing, bang, boom, it's already allocated. Now, what's really cool about this is as long as you have the following preference turned on, I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to go down to Preferences, and I'm going to go to General. You see where it says automatically recall last transaction for this name? When I click OK, I'm going to click Save and New. It's going to automatically recall the last check written to Texas Power. It puts all the same information. All I got to do is go down to the quantity field, change the dollar amount to the new amount of the bill, and boom, it automatically allocates it, save and close. Now that is cool, all right? It's in, we can talk more about it at the end if you have questions. And the online guys, I think there's 75 of you, you can't do that, okay? The online edition doesn't have the features to be able to do that. All right, so now I think what I'm going to do, Becky, is I'm going to do in kind since a lot of people are interested in that, and then we'll see where we're at. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thanks, Greg.
Okay, cool. So, and again, we'll stay late to answer your questions. No problems with that. I'm going to go ahead and click over to another data file. Now, this is not when you want your computer to go slowly. All right. So we're going to go to in-kind contributions. And an in-kind contribution is a gift of anything other than money. It's a gift of stuff or a gift of services. Should you book it? Absolutely. Why? Because particularly if you are a young organization, you may be getting a lot of your stuff donated to you, and if you don't book that, number one, you're not showing people how much you're really getting. I mean, just because you didn't get money, you still got stuff. That's value. Funders like to see that you're getting that. The other thing is if you're not booking your in-kind, you're not really reflecting the true cost of running the organization. All right? This organization is called We Love Crazy Counseling Center, and what they do is they counsel the indigent, people that couldn't otherwise afford counseling, and the counselors donate their time. These are professional counselors, so they donate their time. So how do we book it? We know we need to book it. Well, there's not a window or a button here that says in-kind contributions, even though it's the nonprofit edition. I know you're not going to like this, but guess what? We have to do a journal entry. That's the way to enter in-kind contributions, but I'm going to walk you through it. It's going to be real easy. So the first thing you do is we're going to go to List, and we're going to go to the Chart of Accounts list, and you're going to need to create an income account for in-kind contributions. Right there, in-kind contributions. The next thing you'll do, you just have one account. Then whenever you want to book an in-kind gift, you're going to go up to Company, and you're going to go down to Make General Journal Entries. We're going to click it. Then, now, this is the part where it's like, I don't understand between debits and credits. Don't worry, Greg's going to help you. So all you do is to make an income account go up, you credit it. To make an income account go up, you credit it. So I'm going to go to in-kind contributions, and in the credit column, you put the amount of the in-kind gift. What amount should you put? Depends upon what it is. If it's a product that you got, a thing, maybe you're a battered women's shelter and you got bags of clothing, or you got computers or desks or chairs for your office. You book those at fair market value. How do you determine the fair market value? Well, if the person bought it and gave it to you new, just get the receipt from them or ask them to provide you with how much they paid for it. If it's brand new, that's the value. If it's used, though, like used clothing, go to Goodwill's website, Salvation Army. Try and figure out what a fair market value would be. Don't go crazy. Make it something reasonable. For us, we do bags of clothing for I have a battered women's shelter, and we do like $75 a bag. We just think that's fair. So now, if it's a service, one thing I want to tell you, listen carefully, very important here, guys. If the service is donated by a professional that normally does this kind of work, you book it. If it's done by just a volunteer that's like answering the phone for you or taking ticket stubs at an event or something, there's no value associated with that. At least the accounting gods won't let us book it. So only professional services can be booked. And in this case, the counselor usually charges $100 an hour to their normal patients. They're charging $20 to us for the indigent. So the other $80 they're donating. They work 10 hours a month. That's $800. And then we got to pay them the other $20. So they're probably going to be in the vendor list. So I always like to put the name of the vendor here. And then what expense account? Every transaction, we talked about this last week for the newbies, every transaction hits at least two accounts in the chart of accounts. In this case, one will be the income account, in-kind contributions. Now listen carefully, guys. This is important. The other account will be whatever the expense account was that you would have pointed it to had you written a check. Okay? So we have an account called counselor's expense, and that's where we would have done it if we had paid for it directly. So that's where we point it to. We put the name here, Claudia right there, and that's how you enter it. Now, I know you have questions, so just hold on a second, look at the screen. I'm going to answer these. Click Save and Close. Save. That was one thing I forgot to do. Let me go back up here to where this is. All right. I forgot to classify it. This is really important. You want to point it to the program that it relates to. In this case, the Counseling Center. Now, if it was just somebody donating like a tax return, you'd have to put that to admin. But I love booking in-kind programs.